War has always demanded risk, but some aircraft didn't just fight the enemy, they fought the pilots flying them. These machines pushed the limits of engineering, speed, and innovation, often before the technology was ready. The result was a generation of aircraft that were as dangerous to operate as they were to face in combat. These are the aircraft that killed their own pilots. The Messerschmitt Me-163 Komet was unlike anything the world had ever seen. Powered by a volatile rocket engine, it could climb faster than any aircraft of its time, reaching bomber formations in minutes. But that speed came at a terrifying cost. Its fuel, two hypergolic chemicals, could ignite on contact. Hard landings often ended in explosions. Pilots had only minutes of powered flight before gliding back to Earth, landing without wheels on a skid. Many never made it back. The Komet shot down enemy bombers, but it killed just as many of the men who flew it. The Lockheed F-104 Starfighter was built with one goal: speed. Thin, razor-like wings reduced drag, allowing it to exceed Mach 2. But those same wings made it unforgiving at low speeds. Landing required extreme precision, and any mistake could be fatal. In German service, where it was used for low-level strike missions in poor weather, the results were devastating. Over 100 pilots lost their lives. The aircraft earned a chilling nickname, the Widowmaker. In skilled hands, it was unmatched. In the wrong conditions, it was lethal. The Mikoyan Gurevich MiG-21 became one of the most widely produced fighter jets in history. Fast, agile, and simple, it served across dozens of countries, but its design left little margin for error. High landing speeds, limited visibility, and unforgiving handling characteristics meant that inexperienced pilots often struggled to control it. Many air forces reported significant peacetime losses, not from combat, but from accidents. The MiG-21 was effective, but it demanded absolute discipline. Without it, the consequences were immediate. The Vought F7U Cutlass looked like the future. A tailless design, swept wings, and jet propulsion gave it a futuristic silhouette. But beneath that innovation was a deeply flawed aircraft. Its engines were underpowered and unreliable, especially during carrier operations where precision and power were critical. Wave-offs, aborting a landing attempt, were often impossible. Mechanical failures were frequent. The Navy lost nearly a quarter of all Cutlasses built to accident. The Bell P-39 Airacobra introduced a radical concept, placing the engine behind the pilot. This allowed for a powerful cannon mounted in the nose, firing directly through the propeller hub. But it also shifted the aircraft's center of gravity in a way that made it unstable. In certain maneuvers, especially spins, recovery was nearly impossible. Pilots who entered a flat spin often had no way out. While Soviet pilots would later use it effectively at low altitudes, many early pilots paid the price for its unconventional design. The Yakovlev Yak-38 was the Soviet Union's attempt at a vertical takeoff fighter. It could launch from small carriers without catapults, using lift jets to rise straight into the air. But those lift jets consumed enormous amounts of fuel, leaving little for actual combat. Engine failures during takeoff or landing were so common that engineers installed an automatic ejection system. If the aircraft detected a critical failure, the pilot was ejected instantly, whether they were ready or not. That such a system was necessary tells you everything. The Yak-38 didn't just risk failure, it expected it. The B-26 Marauder entered service with one of the worst reputations of any American bomber. Early versions had high wing loading and demanded extremely fast landing speeds. Training accidents were frequent, and the aircraft quickly gained the nickname Widowmaker. Pilots struggled with its unforgiving nature, especially during takeoff and landing. But unlike many others on this list, the story didn't end there. Through design improvements and better training, the B-26 transformed into one of the safest bombers of the war. Its early crews paid the price, but their experience saved countless others. The English Electric Lightning was a masterpiece of raw performance. It could climb vertically, intercept enemy aircraft faster than anything in the sky, and exceed Mach 2 with ease. But it had one critical flaw: range. Fuel consumption was extreme, giving pilots barely enough time to complete their mission before turning back. Every second in the air was a countdown. A moment of distraction could mean running out of fuel with no runway in sight. The Lightning didn't forgive mistakes. It demanded constant awareness from takeoff to landing. The Douglas F-3D Skyknight, despite its success as a night fighter, had its own challenges. Its heavy frame and sluggish handling made it difficult to maneuver, especially compared to lighter jets. While it was stable and effective in the right role, pilots transitioning from more agile aircraft often found themselves caught off guard. In an era where speed and responsiveness were evolving rapidly, even small mismatches between pilot expectation and aircraft behavior could prove dangerous. Finally, the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II entered combat as one of the most advanced fighters in the world, but early versions lacked an internal gun, relying entirely on missiles. When those missiles failed or rules of engagement forced close combat, pilots found themselves at a disadvantage. Its powerful engines also produced thick black smoke, making it visible from miles away. Carrier landings were demanding, and its size and speed left little room for error. Over time, modifications and improved tactics turned the Phantom into a legend, but not before its early crews paid a heavy price. These aircraft were not failures in the traditional sense. Many were innovative, powerful, and ahead of their time, but they were built in an era where pushing boundaries often meant crossing them. Safety systems were limited, testing was rushed, and the cost of progress was measured in human lives. Every aircraft on this list tells the same story in different ways. Engineering ambition met real-world limitations, pilots became test subjects, and lessons were written not in reports, but in wreckage. Modern aircraft are safer because of these machines, because of the risks taken, the mistakes made, and the pilots who flew them anyway. They didn't just fight wars, they helped define the limits of flight itself.